Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the Fish Room. My name is Travis and welcome back to another video. So today we're going to take a closer look at the new Nicrew HyperReef Gen 2s. Now they went ahead and sent me the 100, the 150, as well as the 200. Now with that I'm going to show you some side-by-side comparison when it comes to maximum coverage as well as how many diodes are in each light. You guys will see all that. I'll show you some mounting options here. We'll look at some of the upgraded features and yeah, kind of give you guys my opinion. And of course in the next video I will set these up on the frag tank, replacing the original Gen 1s, which have been there for I would say over a year. I have to double check when I put that original video up, but either way, before I get into these lights, I guess a quick overview on the Gen 1s. No issues with these lights. Now these are a 3-puck. You will notice on the 150 on the Gen 2 is a 2-puck. But yeah, no issues with these lights, except that the power supply did go out. It was a pretty common issue that they've had, and Nicrew had no issue sending me new power supplies. They were here within a couple days, and yeah, since then, the lights have been working just fine. Now, I did do some growth comparisons between the Gen 1 150s and this AP700 on some SPS. You guys can check those videos out. And with that, again, no issues with growth. Now, it just so happens to be over my LPS / softy / I do have a few giant balls of SPS in there. It just happens to be over that frag tank and not over my fully SPS frag tank. But again, no issues with the SPS that are currently in there. We did par readings. There's a pretty decent spread with these original lenses, which they upgraded the lenses on the new light. So it should even be better with even the option of making it a little bit more narrow, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But yeah, there's no issues with the Gen 1s except for the power supply, and yeah, so I'm pretty happy with them. Now, I did mention in a short that I will be giving these away. I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. I might sell them, give them away. I don't know. We'll decide what we're going to do. But if you are interested in these lights, reach out to me, fishofhex@gmail.com. I know a lot of you guys are trying to make frag tanks, and I have no problem either giving them away or selling them for really, really cheap to help somebody out. So with that being said, let's go ahead and look at these new lights. Now, right off the back, I mentioned that they actually look kind of like the Ecotech XR15s and XR30s. They just scream Ecotech. I think anybody can agree with me with that. They just do. I mean, even the ventilation on the side, the overall look, the shyness on the top, the vent on the top there, it just kind of screams. Now underneath is a little bit different, but yeah, it just kind of screams Ecotech. And if we're going to take a step back, we'll look at the mount that came with them. Again, it just screams Ecotech. Now, I don't have a problem with that. I don't really have an issue with that. Overall, I just feel like it's too similar, but I don't know. I'm not the one designing these. There's got to be a reason behind it, and I'm not really sure what it is. Now, I guess if it looks like an Ecotech and performs like an Ecotech for 1/3 the price, maybe that's what they're doing. I don't know. I don't ask those kind of questions. But either way, let's go ahead and take a closer look at the 3 models here. Now, first things first, you'll notice is that the 100 and the 150 are essentially the same frame. It's the same platform. It's, you know, I'm building shades and mounts for these lights, and they're exactly the same width, same length. The only difference is that we have more diodes in the 150, which we'll take a look at right now. So with the 100, you're getting a 24-inch by 24-inch spread, of course, 100 watts full power. And then here's the diode setup: 10, 14, 12, 4, 2, 2, 2, 2. And they have upgraded the red and green red and green spectrum, and they also dialed in their blue spectrum per the website. And I went over the website, and that's where I got a lot of this information from. And with that, as I mentioned before, they also changed out the lens. So they went from the narrow 90-degree lens to the 120 with the option of adding a narrow lens kit if you need to. So if you have like a deep tank like the 300, if you put these on, like this is a 31-inch tall tank, if you put them on there, you'd be able to add the narrow lenses like I did with the Kessels. And they didn't send me the narrow lenses. Maybe I'll have them do that. So I added these narrow lens kit to push those A360Xs down, getting that 250, 300 par at the bottom of the tank. So you'll have that option with this light if you want. Again, I'll see if they'll send me the narrow lens kit so I can show you guys, get you some par readings. But that's pretty cool that they gave you that. Now, before we move on to the 150, let's look at the spread here. So with that new lens, you can see the Gen 1 on the 36 by 36, you see that hot spot in the middle? That's what they kind of fixed with the new lens. So you can see that it's not nearly a hot spot. You're getting a little bit better of a spread and coverage-wise. So that's pretty cool. That's definitely an upgrade compared to the Gen 1s. Probably not something I would notice on my particular setup, given how many lights I have and how close they are. But if you are, again, if you're looking at that taller tank or trying to get more light or less lights on a bigger frag tank, you'll probably notice that a little bit more than I would. So that's the Gen 1, that's the Gen 2 100. Let's move over to the Gen 2 150. So we're going to be getting, of course, a little bit bigger spread, 30 inches by 30 inches with 150 watts full power. And then we're getting more diodes. We're getting more LEDs, of course, giving us that additional 50 watts and that additional spread in power. So pretty cool. Now, with that, you'll notice that the power supply, of course, is going to be a little bit smaller for the 100 opposed to the 150. And again, this just kind of screams Ecotech. It just looks like it. Even the way that it feels, it just kind of screams like MP40 or XR15. So, okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the Nicrew HyperReef 200 Gen 2. Now, with that, the biggest difference between this is not only the size, but also the additional puck. So with the additional puck, we're going to get the bigger spread, which is 36 inches by 36 inches, max power of 200 watts. And of course, we're going to get the additional diodes, right? So, looks pretty good. Again, it still feels pretty robust. Don't mind the mounting options here. I'm doing a lot of test fitting and making mounts you guys have asked for with the Gen 1, so we'll get in that here in a second. But moving on to the power supply, definitely feels really robust. Like it just feels, again, screams Radeon or XR15 or something. It just feels Ecotech-ish, and yeah, it feels pretty good. So hopefully they've addressed all the power supply issues with these lights. They seem like they did with the upgraded one that they sent me when the original one went bad on the Gen 1s. So yeah, looks pretty good. I guess we won't really know until a full review, until I get them on the tank and use them for a while. And again, that's just going to take some time. But overall, I am pretty happy with the lights. They look good, they feel good, and with the upgrades, I mean, they just seem like I might even get away with being able to just put these three on here. I'm debating maybe I will just put one bar all the way across and just kind of spread them out throughout the two tanks, because it seems like we have enough coverage, right? So it's a 48 by 48 long and then 24 wide. So we'll see. But I do love my Kessel. So we'll see. We'll see what I want to do when I want to set this up. But I definitely don't want to put all three over one frag tank. That'd be overkill. Like those two right now are kind of overkill, and they're not even up all the way. So yeah, outside of that, I do know that they upgraded the controller. I have not dove into this yet. You're supposed to be able to do more stuff, AB plus spectrum, more controllability, all that. And again, I will dive into this a little bit closer look when we set the lights up on the frag tank, and I'll show you guys all the ins and outs of that when it comes. But first impressions, pretty impressed. They definitely put some work into it. The only thing I don't like is that it just resembles the Radeons a little too much, but that's just personal preference. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. If you're getting a light that's growing coral and doing really well, it looks like a Radeon, but 1/3 the price. So can't really beat that, right? So if you are definitely into budgeting and you're definitely into getting some lights that work, I would say that give these a shot. I know that the Gen 1s have had, again, minor issues with the power supply. Outside of that, there is no problems. And given that the upgrades that they put on these lights so far, definitely worth a shot, especially for the price point. And I'm anticipating the price point being significantly lower just because I don't have the price. They didn't give me the price. So, yep. That's about it, guys. So stay tuned for the next video. And just a heads up, if you guys are, again, if you're looking for mounting options, I have a ton of stuff. I also have light shades for all these that are available for pre-order, and I can make whatever design you are looking for. That's kind of just what I do with the 3D printing stuff. So on top of that, if you guys want to support the channel, head over to my website. 50% off all coral for the next couple weeks. And it's just because I have too much of it. It grows way too fast. And I want to address something real quick. You guys, I know I don't have a ton of different acroporos in here. The reason why I don't grow a lot of harder SPS acros is because the majority of my subscribers are new, and I like to provide basic corals and easy stuff for people who are getting into the hobby. It just kind of makes sense business-wise. If I'm growing the hardest acropora, which aren't an issue, but who's buying it, you know? So, you know, got to make a living, man. So with that, appreciate all the support, and I'll see you guys in the next video, okay? Peace.